Officials say that they did find an unloaded .380 caliber handgun on the student. Now, that gun was quickly confiscated by officials, and then they say they wanted to make it clear that there was absolutely no threats of violence made by this student at any time before or during this investigation. But I want you to take a look at this. Now, everything that's left inside this orange fence, this is all that's left. They say they don't know anybody who would want to do something as horrific as what happened here last night to their friend. Doesn't look like there's much going on behind me right now, but just about 10 minutes ago, this parking lot behind me was overflowing with cops. This is exactly where sheriff's deputies and Wadena police arrested yesterday's escaped inmate, Ryan Petro. Now, police do say that if you are in this area, you do live on any of these blocks that are now shut down, they do urge you to shelter in place until this situation is finally done. Pitt says that if your child is going to build a snow tunnel this weekend, that not to build one into such a tall pile of snow like this one. While they say they didn't really notice anything out of the ordinary, they say that it doesn't really surprise them what happened here. They say that this gas station does have a long-standing history of robberies. I've been here for about an hour and I've clocked an average speed of about 26 to 28 miles an hour. Well above that suggested speed. That pursuit of that semi-truck eventually ended here about 30 minutes ago, and I'm told that the victim is doing okay for now and that the driver has been arrested and he will be booked into Clay County Jail. So I wanted to know just what exactly he meant by that and sat down with him today in a jailhouse interview you'll only see here on Valley News Live. Lots of people are calling you a monster. What do you have to say to that?
You know, they don't know the case. They don't know the case. They don't understand what's happening. They only know, they're looking from the outside in.
So they don't know the whole story. So what is the whole story?
Well, I'm telling you, there's been a lot of alcoholism, especially on Denise's part, and a lot of different people she's been involved with.
Do you think she was murdered?
I mean, I do believe that. How, I don't know.
Sheldon Davis says last Wednesday night was normal for him and his girlfriend, Denise Anderson. He says there was no tension, no problems, saying they'd gone bowling and drinking at the bar. Davis says he left his apartment around 3 Thursday morning, got gas, visited a friend's house, and went to a possible job site. But when the job didn't pan out, he went to his friend Lenny Wild's house for the rest of the day. I spoke exclusively with Wilds last week after he turned Davis into police, after Wild says Davis confessed his crime. But Davis denies all of Wild's claims.
No matter what she done or what she's done to me, it doesn't justify that. And if I say I care about her, I wouldn't do something like that, no matter how angry she made me, I wouldn't do that.
Have you ever laid a hand on Denise Anderson?
Well, the only thing was that the one night that she hit me with the rope when she was drinking, I did push her off pretty heavy.
What about the text she sent her son saying, "If I die, Sheldon did it"?
I didn't know she sent a text. And I was not aware of that.
What does that make you think?
I don't know.
It's terrifying,
As Matthew Satrom grabbed a drink of water in his kitchen early Tuesday morning, he noticed the light in his car was still on.
I walked in and boom, there's a guy right there.
Satrom says what came next all happened so fast, saying he threw a punch at the suspect, only to then be cut with a knife.
It's one of my worst fears ever being realized, is somebody trying to come into our house with my wife and those girls.
Fighting for both his and his family's lives, he says the suspect later broke free, taking off out this back patio door.
Were you fearing for your life?
Oh, absolutely.
Satrom says because it was so dark, he was not able to get a close look at the suspect, but describes them as a white man about 5'11" to 6 feet tall, with a build similar to his own. He added nothing was stolen out of their cars, but with messes like this left behind, it's hard to tell for sure.
Just glad it wasn't worse.
He says they usually left the garage service door unlocked, so delivery drivers had a safe place to put the family's packages.
Not going to leave that door unlocked anymore.
And on top of that change, Satrom says a security system and cameras are next.
Things like this aren't supposed to happen in a small town, but here we are.
And although still shaken up and dealing with both back and neck injuries, as well as that slash on his arm, Satcham says he's just glad his family is safe and hopes his story helps keep others safe too.
I turned and this guy was skating backwards and he turned into me, so he kind of face planted and his skates went up on my neck.
A normal hockey practice turned into a nightmare here at Southwest Arena just 6 months ago.
I saw him get up and I saw him put his hand, and I saw him scream. And that's when I knew something was up.
A slash to the neck hitting Luke's jugular vein had a whole arena worried what could be next for the 9-year-old.
The biggest thing is I just can't lose him on the ice that day. Couldn't.
But as Luke was in the hospital recovering from surgery, the hockey community was taking precautions, wiping clean the stock and neck guards at all the local sporting stores.
For as many sharp objects as are flying around out on the ice, especially during practices and different things like that, it's a cheap insurance.
It's like any other piece of equipment. Mouth guards are mandatory. Kids wear mouth guards. And actually, I feel like a neck guard is more important than a mouth guard.
Luke wasn't wearing one at the time, but that's all changed now. And it's changed for all Fargo and West Fargo players as well. A new policy that just went into effect last week.
With the speed of the game now, you're seeing more and more injuries and concussions and things like that. So this is just I think the next step towards making it safer for kids.
Moorhead Hockey has yet to make neck guards mandatory for their players, and USA Hockey hasn't either.
USA Hockey really needs to get behind this and make a push, because once they make it mandatory, then of course all of their affiliate organizations across the country have to also abide.
Casobud adding he hopes that push comes soon, before something like this happens again.
Player safety is got to be our first priority, and without keeping our players safe, we don't have a game.
But as for Luke, he's already back on the ice.
It's just so fun. You get you can be rough and score goals, and it's fun.
He's getting ready for this season and giving me a few lessons along the way.
It definitely isn't easy, but it's nice to know that we have people outside of the hospital rooting for us.
It's been a long uphill battle, but even today's rain couldn't dampen this celebration.
It was beautiful. Miles was so excited. He was able to get into the cop car, got to wave to a couple of the people standing outside waiting, and he was really excited. I think that really made his day today. He said, "This is the best day ever."
And the most excited to see Miles today, with their Mighty Miles signs in tow, his friends and classmates who walked down the block from Aurora Elementary.
Say Miles. Awesome.
When you sit at the hospital, you seem kind of alone. So it's tremendous to just walk out of the hospital and just see a whole community stand behind you as you're going through this.
Originally from Minot, Monique says they didn't have close ties here before, but after West Fargo schools, police, and fire departments put on a benefit for Mighty Miles back in March, Monique says she's never felt so welcome or supported.
To know that a whole community loves you and stands by us, we can't be any more grateful for having that.
And although a little shy, Miles tells me his favorite part of the day was his shotgun cop car ride. But he thinks the officers' dash cams should be used to make YouTube videos, just like he does, instead.
Like and subscribe. Bye.
Every day we're like, today we're definitely going to find him. We've been saying that for 5 days now.
Scared and all alone.
I don't even know what he would be thinking to do. You know what I mean? He's just not a regular dog. So I don't even know if he really knows regular dog stuff.
Not only are those troopers' feelings, but his mom's as well.
So now he's gone, and I'm having all this anxiety because he's gone, and it's kind of like a double-edged sword, if you will.
Sheilyn was serving in Afghanistan in 2013 when a blast severely injured her and broke several of her bones. And Trooper has been by her side to help in her day-to-day life for the last 2 years.
So he helps me walk up and down stairs, or if I am down on the ground and I can't get up, he kind of braces me, anything like that. And then he also is trained for PTSD, anxiety.
But Sunday afternoon, while at her sister's house, Shaylin says Trooper got spooked and ran off. And despite 15-hour days scouring every inch of both Grand Forks and East Grand Forks, Trooper was still on the loose.
You put in all these hours and walking and sweating and looking and hunting and calling and nothing.
Shaylin says the worst part of it all is this was Trooper's first trip to the area, as she and her pup live in California.
Most dogs go to some place they're aware of, and Trooper he doesn't have a point of reference to go back to.
And the Casserleys were in crunch mode today, as they worried the 4th of July celebrations might scare Trooper off even farther.
Even last night I heard fireworks. Sounds like my poor baby. He's probably so scared right now.
But Trooper and Shaylin's nights alone are no longer, after kayakers came across Trooper tangled up in some brush near the river in Grand Forks late this afternoon. And after a boat ride to shore, Trooper and his mom are finally reunited. In East Grand Forks, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.